I'm just going to do a comparison video of the two fairly popular jet boats on the market at the moment. The first one is your Proboat riverjet. She's 23 inches long. This one is a TFL, they just call it jet boat, and it's about 24.5 inches long. You can see this one's much fancier looking, really well finished off scale looking boat, and it really does look the business. Whereas TFL is just, you know, all about business, but it's you know, they're pretty plain. That's just how TFL do things. More of a driver's thing rather than a shelf queen. These ones unfortunately are made of plastic, whereas the TFL is fiberglass. And TFL being handmade boats, you actually could get one made in Kevlar, or you could get one in full carbon fiber if you wanted to, or you could get carbon fiber with Kevlar inside. So that's probably going a bit far for one of these boats, but that's the advantage of buying a TFL boat. You can they're not mass produced. Okay, inside the motor, I suppose we'll start there. Is in the Proboat is a, what is these, 2300 kV Outrunner motor, not 39mm. The TFL is 1620 kV in runner, just a normal brushless motor with a cooler on the outside. You can't put a cooler on a Outrunner, but they stay cool enough in this thing. That's not an issue for this particular boat. Speed control, depending on where you buy these from, it could have a few different ones. We order these with 120 amp Hobby Wing fully waterproof speed controllers. Some of the Chinese sellers will put cheaper ones in. The Proboat is their normal 120 amp speed controller that they put in just about all their boats. They're waterproof, they're good, no issues there at all. Radio gear, the receiver is waterproof, which is really cool. TFL is just the normal Fly Sky 2-channel radio. You can waterproof it by putting it in a balloon, or I just use a hot melt glue gun over the plugs, and yeah, it keeps the water out. Servos, they put a cheap one in here, I don't know, 3 or 6 kilos, I don't know what it is, but never had a problem with it. The Proboat one that was in here failed on me on about the 3rd or 4th run, and I've got a UL19 Proboat with the exact same servo, and that one failed on the first run, probably in the first 30 seconds, so I don't have much faith in their servos. So I've put a 20 kilo waterproof servo in this one, so with the metal gears it's never going to have a problem. What else? This one has this big weight on the shaft here, and that is for self-righting. The idea is if the boat goes upside down, you floor it and it'll flip the boat over. Now the first time I ran this was on 4S with a 5000 milliamp battery, same size as this. It's really tight in there, really hard to get in. I probably spent 20 minutes just putting the strap on. It's so frustrating, but with that the self-righting bit worked well, but I really needed it because that size battery is just too heavy for this boat. It was just awful to drive. It sat too low in the water and it flipped over all the time. You can run 4S on it, but I don't recommend it. So all the other times I ran it since then has been 3S, same milliamp pack, 5000 milliamp, get about 10 minutes run time. Everything's good there, but it won't self-right the boat. The 3S just doesn't have the kick to do it. Either that, or perhaps the battery at 5000 is too heavy. Maybe you should only run a 3000 to get it flipping over. I don't know. The 5000 gets you about 10 minutes run time. I guess if you want to run half the run time, maybe the rollover function would work on 3S, but for me, as I only ever run 3S, it may as well not be there. TFL doesn't have that option, but I've never actually flipped this boat over. Speed wise on 3S, I've never measured it. It probably does 35 k's an hour. It's not very exciting. It's just, you know, more a beginner's sort of boat. Maybe on 4S it might have been maybe 40-45 k's an hour at the most, whereas the TFL, I've only ran this on 4S and it's more like 70 k's an hour, and it takes off way faster than any power boat you'll ever see, propeller boat I mean to say, you'll ever see. I'd even go so far as to say as if you were to race one of these with a 4S boat in a small area where you were turning a lot and on and off the throttle, I think this would be at least as good or probably even better than pretty much any little 4S boat you're going to find. The jet just works amazing, and it's just the 1600 kV is just well suited for 4S in that boat. This one is probably more suited to someone who's never had a boat before, and you're going to be happy with the speed that it's going to give you. They're not great in the way of driving straight. Anything over half throttle, the thing just wants to turn right, and even though I've got a 20 kilo servo in there, it will not, it'll keep it pushed to the side, but it won't straighten the boat up. I thought maybe the weak servo was the reason it wouldn't drive straight, but it wasn't. It's just the design of the jet. You can't do anything about it. This one drives a lot better, but I did modify it by putting this little extension on the nozzle, which I just cut down a bit of PVC pipe, and I glued it on so it's angled up. You can't see it, but it is. And that pulled the boat out the water and made it so much easier to drive. Just a little 5-minute mod, just changed the whole boat in this one. This one does have the angle adjustment via this rod here that you can adjust to wherever you want to keep it up or down. I suggest put it all the way up. If you wanted to, you can even run another servo in here to make it adjustable from the throttle, but you have to buy a 3-channel radio to do that. This only comes with 2-channel radio, and because these things leak so much, and when I say leak I mean the first time I took it out it was half full of water within half the battery time. I actually had to take the boat out the water, empty it out, and then put it back in just so I could drive the thing, because it had that much water in it, and it's never got any better. So what I actually, my point of saying that is, if you buy a 3-channel radio, you're going to have to buy a receiver that's waterproof. Well, I recommend you do anyway. With the water problem, I fitted an auto bailer on there. It's like a little one-way valve that lets the water flow out when the boat's going and seals up when it's stopped. And that almost fixes the water problem. It's not, you don't have to stop to empty it now. These ones didn't leak anywhere near as much, although I did put an auto bailer on here as well because I actually do it on all my boats. This other one here is just a cut-off switch that I put on so I can tape the boat up before I even get in the car. When I get to the lake, just plug it in and then it's powered up and off I go, so I don't have to muck around at the lake with tape. These ones are held in with the 4 bolts, like pretty much all pro boats are. So I'd probably recommend this is ideal for someone who's never had a boat before, or someone who wants to buy a boat for Christmas for their kid, you know, like a 14-year-old lad or something. Whereas this one is for someone who has maybe never had a jet boat before, but you're used to fast propeller boats, and you want something that's going to be a bit more exciting. You would definitely go this way.